Hi folks, welcome to today's Sunday Catechism. I am so sorry that this is a bit late. I recorded this 2 days earlier, but when I went to put it up today, I realized that the sound hadn't been working. So I'm recording this on Sunday, and it is just before I go in to preach. Actually, I'm going to be preaching, look at my watch, in 25 minutes or so on this subject to some degree. And we're on question 62, so let me read that to you. What truths does the fourth commandment teach us? The truths the fourth commandment teaches us is that God allows us 6 days of the week for our own affairs. He claims the seventh day as his own. He set the example and he blesses the Sabbath. What truths does the fourth commandment teach us? The truths the fourth commandment teaches us is that God allows us 6 days of the week for our own affairs. He claims the seventh day as his own. He set the example and he blesses the Sabbath. Now, I find that, interesting in lots and lots of different ways. This is the last one. We've had 6 on the Lord's Day or the Sabbath, called the Christian Sabbath. Not everyone agrees. So in preparing for the sermon this evening, I love R. Kent Hughes, but I do want to disagree with him on something. Talking about Jesus and the Sabbath, he says that Jesus is our Sabbath rest, and when he came, that did away for the Old Testament Sabbath. And he argues that it no longer applies. He says that the Lord's Day, the first day of the week, has no intrinsic relationship to the Jewish Sabbath. God has set aside the seventh day as a day of rest. Now, my Seventh-day Adventist friends, there was one in church this morning, would be glad to hear that. But of course, R. Kent Hughes says that the seventh day no longer applies. So here's my trouble with all of that. I think that the fourth commandment is there for a reason. And Jesus tells us what the reason is. He tells us that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Now, if the other 9 commandments apply in the moral law, why wouldn't this one? Particularly since Jesus said that we need it. So why do we need it? Well, because we live in this fallen world and we need to take time out. I love the social justice part of this, that people, you have to have a day off. I know in the mills in Dundee where people were working 12-hour shifts in the 19th century, they were so grateful for the Sabbath. You have to have a day off. That's one good thing about it. Secondly, to have a day focusing on worshiping God. Now, those who say, I worship God all the time, I'm sorry. I just find that really difficult to believe. I love having Sunday as a set-apart day. He claims the seventh day as his own. Now, as for there being no connection between the Old Testament Sabbath and the New Testament Lord's Day, that's really stretching things. So just as we have the Passover becoming the Lord's Supper and circumcision becoming baptism, so we have Sabbath becoming the Lord's Day. Now, it may be that we don't have the strict Sabbatarian rules. We don't have all the civic things. But I'm utterly convinced that it's an intrinsic part of biblical Christianity to have the fourth commandment and to have the Lord's Day. I'm not going to get into all the details about the things you are and are not allowed to do. That does become a kind of legalism. But I think we really missed something. I think there's been a big mistake, a big error made in giving up on the Lord's Day. I think we've ended up in a situation in Australia where people go to an o'clock, they go to an 8 o'clock, a 10 o'clock or a 5 o'clock. And although the rest of the day could be spent in good deeds or worship or praying or whatever, it usually isn't, is it? We get church over and done with. We really struggle to give God an hour and a half, 2 hours in the whole week. I think we should give him the day. Now, of course, as I say, there are Christians who will disagree with that, but just as an observation, I see how weak the church is by not respecting the Lord's Day. We've not gone into all the different details about what you can buy or sell, what you can watch or not watch. and everything like that. I always feel that that's kind of the wrong subject. I just think this is a day for us to focus on God. And, you know, I'll maybe confess a little bit of my own struggles with this at times. For me, it's a really good idea to have a Sabbath from social media on the Lord's Day. I have a Sabbath from reading other books. It's a time to rest and to reflect, although I do work on a Sunday, of course, because I'm a preacher, and I'm just about to go off and do that right now. So enjoy the Lord's Day. Those of you in the UK, by the time I put this up, it'll just be beginning. And in America, it won't even have begun. And in Australia, it'll be almost over. But God bless you, and may you know his presence this day and every day. And may we have many more special Lord's Days to come. Next week, we're on to the 5th commandment. See you then. Bye.